Hi guys, what's up everyone? This is Gaurav. Welcome back to another video. As you know, I've been making job and internship search strategy videos from a longer time, and in this video I'm going to go ahead with an extra step and I'm going to tell you what are the next steps you should take after your interview. Like what are the things to do immediately after your interview is done. You might have seen many videos in which people talk about how to crack the interviews, and also they talk about like what are the steps to get to an interview. But this video is certainly going to be different, and I'm going to tell you what are the steps you should take directly after you complete your interview. Now, there are some of the things which you might be thinking of doing right after your interview. Suppose you are stressful and you are figuring out like what to do, so you might take a nap, you might be relaxed a little bit, and you might be like, okay, this is over. But by doing that, you might be missing many opportunities which is lining up for you. Spending 15 to 30 minutes max on note taking, and this what are the questions you should note down, I'm going to tell you in this video, and by doing so you will be able to prepare yourself better for the next stage of the interview or your next interview. This is highly important when it comes to identify or evaluate yourself by what are the answers you gave, or what were the things which were mattering to the company the most, and what were the things which you could improve during your next interview process. Now, any interview will teach you something. So while you are interviewing, it is the best thing to learn about companies profile or learn about yourself as well, because you know exactly how you'll be answering them. So I understand it might be stressful time for you, but as soon as you complete your interview, please note down all the things which I'm going to tell you, and you will see a drastic change in your next interview performance, I guarantee you. So if you want to know what are those next step or next question you should note down after your job interview, please keep on watching. First, what did they ask? Now, this is really important question when it comes to different stages of hiring process. Like for example, suppose they asked you about a complex project that you worked on in the first round of interview. Then in the second round of interview, you can literally predict that question. Like since they asked you about the complex project, they might be asking you about your time management experience or your problem solving skills in the next round of interview. So by doing this, you will be able to understand what matters to them, what is their priority. So by note taking about what questions did they ask, you will be able to figure out what are the things which really matter to them and whether do you fit for this role or not. And you will be able to perform really well if you are able to predict the next question, and you will perform good enough to go to next stages or even get hired in the process. So make sure to note down what were the things that matter to them, what were their goals, what were their priorities, and what did they ask in the interview. Number two, how did you answer? This is important when it comes to reinforcing your ideas or your answers in later interview or maybe in another job interview process. You can strengthen your case by identifying your strong points and weak points of your answers which you gave during the interview. Always note down what were the examples you gave in first round of interviews, so that you do not repeat them in the second round of interview. Otherwise the interviewer or the recruiter might think that you are running out of your experiences and you do not have more experience to share. So always note down how did you answer, and did you answer them the way you wanted, or you can improve them. So by identifying those things, you will be able to give your performance a boost and next step, because you know that exactly this is the weak point where you struggle answering the question, and this was the strongest point, so you can perform better if you want, or you are confident in those questions. So really crucial for you to identify those things, that how do you answer, and never repeat your example if in the second round of interview, otherwise it shows that you do not have much experience. Number 3, what seemed to matter to them. Formal interviews over the phone call or a video call, and informal interview on site, both can give you invaluable experience of your interview process. You have to note down some things like what was the dean obsessed with their new invention if they made some, what was the hiring manager talking about their new priority strategy, like what are the priorities, what are the goals that companies are trying to focus on. If you understand what are the things which matters to that company, you will be able to perform really well, and you will be able to identify whether you fit in that role category, whether your goals, your priorities align with that company's priorities or not. If you are able to identify what is the main thing that matter to them, I am pretty sure you will be able to crack this interview, and you will be able to perform very well in the next stage of that interview process. So it's important to note down the priorities, the goal, what are the things they are obsessed with, and trying to align your matches or preparing the answers in a certain way that will show that yes, this is the right fit candidate for our team, and it will be for both of their growth, also for the candidate's growth and also for the company's growth. Really important to note down this question. 4th, did you get any new information? Was the interview a little bit different from what you have applied for, or what was the online job posting? If so, you should be identifying them, and you should be working on it, that okay, this was the kind of interview you did, but the job posting was this. So you will be able to get some new information out of it, and you might have researched about the company, and you might have taken into consideration certain steps, certain stages of what will be the questions or what will be the profile of the company. So it's really important to understand what were the new things which you learned, so that you can incorporate those changes into your next stages of interview. 5th, what was the vibe like? Interviews can tell you a lot about the culture of the organization. So listen to your instinct. Like, did you like talking to the interviewer or to the person whom you're talking to? What was the vibe like? How did they behave? How did they communicate? Was there a teamwork? Like, you will be able to identify those things. Do you think the working environment was flexible or rigid? Do you think when you're answering a question, were they listening, or were they flexible enough to understand your point, or were they very rigid and were looking for specific things? You can identify a lot of things by just the interview process, and you can also see if that is a right match for you. If you really want to work with them, it should not be like, okay, you got hired and then after 2 months you got sick of them because they don't treat you well and the working environment is very toxic. So it's really important to understand how do they do it in their interview round. Do you think the vibe was positive? Did you get a good feeling about that interview? And do you think you jam up with those people whom you were talking to? So always note down, how did you feel? What was your vibe? Always listen to your instincts. Number 6, whom should you thank? The next step after the interview is always to follow up the interviewer or the recruiters with a thank you note. Make a list of all the people or all the interview panelists who were there who are taking your interviews, and make sure to thank them individually and thank them as thank you note. Why it is important, I always tell in all my videos that thank you notes are the most important thing, or even a thank you video. Send a video thanking them and how grateful you are. Why? Because they took out their sweet time from their busy hectic schedule, and they took out that 30-40 minutes just to interview you and to know you and whether you are the fit candidate for the team or not. So make sure you make a list and send them thank you notes, and this should be done right away after your interview is done. Now, I talked a lot about the company, what you should look into the company. Now let's move on to what you think, how was your performance. So you should always note down the 7th point I would say is what went well, what didn't went well, what are your next steps, or what are your next strategy towards the next interview process. So it's really crucial to identify what were the strong points which you made and what were the weak points. The conclusion of your interview that okay, these are the strong points which you need to keep on pointing to them and saying them, and these are the weak points which you need to improve on them so you can perform better in your job interview. So being said that, always note down what were the answers which you like and what were the answers which you didn't like. What was the thing which went well and you really liked it and you want to repeat that in your next interview process, or what was the things which you need to improve on. What is the next strategy which you would like to make before you move on, because this kind of process is really teaching you something. You learn everything out of each interview which you give. Number 8, last but not the least, who are you interested in connecting with? Even though you do not end up getting a job you wanted, interviews are the best platform for excellent networking opportunities, especially the on-site interviews. Now identify those people whom you felt like the vibes were positive, whom you share a similar path of career goals. Try to connect to them. You never know, you might ending up collaborating with them or working with them in near future. So make sure to connect with them and never miss an opportunity of networking. And it's always important to remember those people who helped you and always try to network whenever it's possible. There was a lot of points to be noted. Always remember that this process is going to help you itself. It will help you to build stronger yourself for the next round of interviews, and it will be by doing this note-taking process, it will help you in identifying, like, do you want to work for this company? Do you see yourself working for this salary to attain your financial goals? Do you see yourself working with this working culture or the environment which you will be working with? There are many points which you can literally identify by just note-taking this point which I told you. But do not go crazy, do not write down all the things. It's just a simple note-making process, and the best time is as soon as your interview gets over. Just write down all the things, because all the things are fresh in your memories, and after you've done that, send thank you notes to them. But it's really important to note down these points, and you will 100% guarantee you will see drastic change in your next interview process when you will be answering those questions and you know exactly that you are well prepared for it. So that's all for this video, guys. I'm also on Instagram, and if you want to follow me, and if you have any questions, please comment below, or you can send me a DM on Instagram, and we'll go from there. We'll be coming with another video with some information or some blog, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.